And with that came a viral video that hit. We have a relative and inappropriate candle, which is still a very fun one, that hit a viral status. And on top of that, it brought a lot of people to the site, which caused a lot more sales. So last April, we average about 15 to 50 orders a month. Last April, we had 2,300.
Wow.
So that was definitely.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Stephanie Desaulniers with the Meet the Maker interview series. So today we are here with Katlyn Katona of Crafty Mom Candles. So excited to talk to her about her journey over the last couple of years and learn more. So thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you. It was really great to be here. It's an exciting opportunity.
Awesome. So start out by sharing just a little bit more about your business. I mean, we can get it from the name, but I'd love to hear more details.
So my name, Crafty Mom Candles, is kind of exactly what it is. I'm crafty, I'm a mom, and candles is my business. We are based out of Redford, Michigan, making soy candles, wax melts, room sprays, and other things that make your home smell good without all the chemicals and, bad things that are going to cause issues in your home with soot and, carcinogens, toxins, things like that.
Great. And you have had a really interesting journey over the last year. So I'd love for you to share kind of, what changed in your business a year ago, because I know you saw some really impressive growth, and then what you've been doing.
Okay. So about a year ago is kind of where a viral journey started with us. We have actually started since 2019 making candles. 2020 started kind of just the basic process, but last year is when I really started to dive deep into social media and marketing with SEO and kind of hitting our target market. And with that came a viral video that hit. We have a relative and inappropriate candle, which is still a very fun one, that hit a viral status. And on top of that, it brought a lot of people to the site, which caused a lot more sales. So last April, we average about 15 to 50 orders a month. Last April, we had 2,300.
Wow.
So that was definitely a big jump in progress. And it tapered off with, it was about $2,300 a month in April, and then 500 and 500 the next two consecutive months. So it definitely was something that was unexpected, and it caused a lot of happy times and a lot of sad, overnights trying to just push through as much as we possibly could. So it's been a progress. At a project, we were not quite ready to go viral. We had been, again, steadily growing since 2019, and that pushed us into a lot of things that we were not quite expecting in regards to having to buy a lot more inventory up front without getting the deals that we really wanted for it. We opened a retail space to get us through the holiday season, which is now something we're actually in the process of closing down, not because we can't afford it, but because it's taking us away from home too much with having to work consistently to still keep up with the orders that are coming in.
Yeah. And I remember when you were talking about opening up your retail space and how awesome it was to be bringing that together. And so, I know it was kind of it's a right idea, but not the right time. It's a not right now idea, which is it's always hard. But so, if you could have turned back time and done something differently or told yourself something, what would you have changed?
So it's a really hard one because people are like, oh, you're shutting down your retail space. Would you have never done it? Like you said, it was the right thing, but at the wrong time. I still absolutely would have done it. I would have changed how I did things in the space, though. So we did a lot of things like buying extra furniture and redoing a wall and things like that. Going back, I wouldn't have done that aspect with it. I would have gone, nope. I know that this is more of a short-term thing to get us through the holiday season, and not putting so much aesthetics into the space versus, I can't even think of the right term. We did a lot more of the aesthetic stuff versus the production stuff. And I wish we would have just stayed with more of the production stuff versus a retail storefront looking space, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I can understand what you're saying, right? Because when you're like, oh, we're going to expand, and having that, like, everyone wants that brick and mortar, right? That people can come into. And as a manufacturer, which is really what most of us are, realizing that, looking nice probably isn't our first goal.
Right. And that's kind of what I would say. Getting the space was not the problem. It was the mentality of the space, because I knew I never wanted a retail space. I have a full-time job that supports my family of 4 on top of the candles, and 2 kids and a husband that occasionally needs attention. So going into it, I should have went with the mindset of, why am I making this look like a retail space? I need functionality over nicety. And it is functional, but it looks more like a retail space, and that's not what I needed to do. I needed the space, but not the retail portion of it, because that's not ever what I wanted.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great insight into that. And, being able to recognize that so that moving forward, maybe you can make some decisions that are a good fit for your business now that you've kind of learned
Yep.
these lessons.
Yeah, I think definitely in about 2 or 3 years, my kids are a little bit older. We are going to get another brick and mortar space, but we're going to look into more of an industrial district, especially one that can handle the amount of fans that we need for the fragrance oils and things like that. Because the space is set up more as retail, so it does not have the exhaust that we need. So we have about 4 air purifiers and industrial fans running at once, which is just very loud versus an industrial space that could already have that built into the HVAC systems.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. I don't work with
Yeah.
fragrances, so that would have never crossed my mind. There's probably a
It
lot
didn't
going
cross
on.
my mind until I was in a space pouring, at our home, we can pour about 60 to 70 candles a day versus here we can pour about 300.
Oh,
So
wow.
when you're pouring 300 candles and wax melts at a time, the fumes are a lot more because you're doing more.
Right.
So,
oh, that's crazy. So, we've talked about, you started out back in 2019. So we're in what, year number 5 now for you?
Approximately. So it started back further than that. So in 2011, my first son was born, and he was born at 30 weeks. So he was very little, had to stay in the NICU for about a month. And the hospital gave me this kit that kind of was like a basics, like paraffin wax candle to kind of stave off postpartum depression. And because he came home, eventually he's totally fine now. You would never know he's eating us out of house and home. But because we had a lot of medical bills for the first couple of years of my husband and I together, I made candles for Christmas gifts for people because it's what we already had. It was free and it worked. It gave me a creative outlet because, again, I do have a full-time executive job. And it kind of was off and on for a few years. And then when I was pregnant in 2019 with my youngest son, I had restless leg syndrome, which I never want anybody to have because it's awful. And the only thing that helped was all hours of the night, I had to get up and walk around. And my husband, who loves me dearly, goes, if you keep pacing the hallway, we're going to have issues. I was like, well, what can I do? So I started doing Cricut stuff and things like that. And then I found my candle kit again. And I was like, I really loved this, but I wanted to dive more into the healthy aspect of it. And that's kind of where Crafty Mom Candles came into play and why we named our business that, because while the candles keep me busy and give me a creative outlet, I never wanted to forget why I started it. I started it because I'm creative, but I'm also a mom. I never want my business to take away from my kids.
Yeah. Oh, I love that story. That's so sweet. And so, when you were first starting out, and so we'll say that the first starting out is this 2019 frame.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
That's when the business mentality side of it started, and the small business support and things like that versus just the, hey, we don't have money, let's make a candle.
Right. But I mean, that's a great foundation though.
Yeah.
But what was something that was more challenging than you expected it to be when you're like, no, I'm going to do this as a business now?
All the legalities. So with having a candle business, it's not just something I can go to a craft show and sell. I have to think of people in our day and age, while we want to say they are smart, sometimes are not. And I had to have insurance. And to have insurance on a candle business, I had to have an LLC. And it was really a decision point of, do we want to take this to the next step? Because I can't make candles to sell them if I can't protect my family because someone does something silly. Right. So it was creating the LLC, creating the insurance, and getting set up with the actual getting it to other people. So the shipping, our first year in actual business, we'll say, is 2020 of shipping to other states and locations. I lost about $9,000 in shipping costs because I just was like, oh yeah, it's probably about this. It's probably about this. Ooh. So the second year, obviously we were much better about that when I finally looked at the finances and was like, wow, this is a problem. And then started doing it based on the actual weight of the products and getting that. So the legality of the insurance and the shipping procedures probably were our two biggest kind of like, oh shit moments, essentially, of, hey, this is a business, not a hobby. I have to think as a business person, not someone who I just want to have my products in their home.
Right. Oh man, I love that. Yeah, so many people, especially with a product like candles or skincare products, don't think about the fact that you like protecting yourself legally is a necessity.
It's crazy. We actually, a side note, we have massage candles that are coming out later this year.
Oh, fun.
And I had to partner with another small business who has all their certifications for Bath and Body, because it's another type of thing. For my insurance legality wise, I have to partner with somebody that does the certifications for that, because again, to fall under the insurance. So there's so many different nuances, and it varies state by state. While I'm based in Michigan, I have to think about the other states. California, luckily my oils fall under Prop 65, so they have no cancer causing agents. But if they didn't, I would have to have a special decal for my products going to California. There's so many things you don't think about when it's a business versus a hobby, and that's truly the differentiating point.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is huge. Well, so we just have time for one more question. So I'm going to, we'll wrap this up with just, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned on your business journey so far? Or like the most important thing you've learned?
The most important thing I've learned is that imposter syndrome is real. And I say that not only as myself, but I have a really good, standing with other small businesses and working with them and supporting them, and thinking you're not worth the value of your products. So pricing your products when you first start out is going to be very different than the way that the end price is.
Yeah.
I priced it with, I just want people to have my products, versus no, I want my products to be the value of the work and the raw materials that go into it. That's kind of what it is. So imposter syndrome sucks, but you got to get over it, and get over it quick, and your business will be so much better for it.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Like 100 times. Yes. If I could, I'm going to plaster that everywhere. Right.
Yes. I want to put it all over all the walls of imposter syndrome will get you. Get over it.
Right. A handout to every small business person you meet. Like,
yes.
You don't even have to talk to them. Be like,
yes.
Hi, do you own a small business? Here's this card.
Here's this card. Charge your worth. Don't charge what you think people will pay, because your end customer is not always the person who you start off selling to.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Katlyn. I have really enjoyed this conversation, this interview, and I know everybody listening will love the insights that you've provided on your journey, and the fact that where we think we're going to go is not always how it ends up, but you are doing amazing things. It's been so much fun to watch your business grow.
Thank you.
So, okay, awesome. Thank you. You have a wonderful day then.
Thank you.
Okay, so Katlyn, when we had talked previously, you had mentioned that you actually work a full-time job outside of your candle business and the retail store, and you've got your family. And so, one question a lot of people have had is how have you balanced? I don't want to say balance. I feel like balance is the wrong word. How have you managed all of that?
Well, that's what it is. Balance is not the right term, because some days I do have a full-time job. I have a 9-to-5 as an executive assistant for 5 different people in the IT field. On top of, I have 2 kids. I have a 12-year-old, a 3-year-old, a husband, and I have the candle business. And it's not balanced. I time block very well. So it's okay. I'm doing 3 hours of this. Let's do this. These are the active plans that I had. I'm a very check the box off to do person. So if I have it written down and I can check the box off, the endorphins that gives me when I can check a box, even how silly it sounds, is what I like to do. But some days I am a terrible mother, and some days I am a terrible business owner, and some days I am a terrible worker, but then other days I am extraordinary at it. And it really is just about balancing. And it sounds bad to say that, but there are some days where, God love my husband, he is an amazing father through and through. So he'll go do what you need to do. We'll go do something big this weekend with the kids, like going to the park or a splash pad and things like that. So he's been a really big supporter in anything I do. He always has been, but especially with this, he's always really good about helping out. Or when he sees I'm getting overwhelmed, he'll come downstairs and not even necessarily help with the business, because he does that too, but he'll just sit there and talk to me while I'm doing stuff. So if I'm talking to him, I'm doing stuff without realizing it. So I think time blocking is the biggest aspect of it, but there are some times where I have to take a step back and go, okay, too many things are happening. What do I actually need to focus on? It's the same thing. We're going through a move with the business space right now. And I'm like, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And my husband goes, no, you need to pack up your car and bring a load of stuff home, because otherwise you're going to be trying to do everything on the weekend. Okay. That's fair.
Right.
So it's just about prioritizing. And every Sunday, my husband and I have a weekly check-in in regards to life, the business, the kids, family stuff, what needs to be prioritized for the week and what can get pushed off or what can get put towards the end of the week if we have time.
Wow. I love that idea. I may have to steal that. Because I know that's one thing we've struggled with in my house, because I've got 1,000 things going, right? And I feel like my husband and I aren't always on the same page. It's like, what is important the next week? So we're gonna steal that idea, I think.
It's honestly, it's a really good way to connect too, because that's our thing. We put the kids to bed on Sunday. Sunday is our date. We stay up, we sit at the table or at the couch or in the basement with a cup of coffee, and it's just, here's laid out everything online. And it's a good way to not miss things too.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, you had mentioned that you did experience like going viral with your candles. And how did that change the balance when you were trying to coordinate everything between the job and family and the candle business?
So it's it's really hard to say that. So it did change the balance because I've always been the career person in our household. It's just what it's always been. My husband was always the stay-at-home dad and I was the career person. So it really wasn't anything different. I went from a job where I was working 75 hours a week, managing 300 people, and intentionally took a step back to have our second child, to an EA position, which I love, but I was working a 40-hour week. So I've been used to working 75 hours since I was 16.
Gotcha.
So adding on the business just kind of rolled with it, you know. And like I said, it is a balancing act. There are some weeks, especially in the fall and winter, where craft shows are huge. I run my own craft show, so that prioritizes the business over, you know, the family stuff. The family stuff is definitely a lot more the spring and summer because the candles are slower. And then of course the full-time job is what supports my family of four. So that is the priority all the time, obviously.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for sharing those additional insights with us. And can you please let us know where my audience can find you on social or check you out and learn more about your candles?
Yep. So I am pretty much on every platform just because you need to be in this day and age. So TikTok is probably the one that I post to the most. I do about 3 to 5 videos a day with, we just hit 20,000 followers there.
Nice.
Crafty Mom Candles LLC is the name. Instagram, we just broke 6,000 there, post a couple times a week there. Same thing, Crafty Mom Candles. Facebook, I have my original Facebook group and then the VIP, because as we know, the Facebook algorithm stuff gets pushed so weird. We are also, I have my own website, craftymomcandlesllc.com, and then Clapper is also a newer social media platform that came out along with Lemon 8, which are both kind of subsidiaries of TikTok in case TikTok was going to get shut down. So those are much smaller platforms. They're very, very nichey, but I'm on those as well.
Okay. Well, great. Now I have to go check those out because I've never heard of them. So thanks for sharing about that.
I have to say, because when I say Clapper and Lemon 8, they sound like totally wrong things. And it's like, it's not. I promise it's not. It is not the OF or anything like that. It's
Right.
they are baby platforms, you know. They kind of came out when Musical.ly went down and TikTok bought over, and they've been around for a very, very long time. They're just not the high traffic social media that, you know, we need to do in the business day and age that we're at, but they are there mainly so nobody could take our business name there.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing. And again, I appreciate you taking the time to tell your story and share a little bit more about your journey.
Thank you.